Another day, another adventure. So I went to the Grampians, and this was my first time going to the Grampians to actually hike. I have been to Hall's Gap, which is the town which borders the Grampians, before, but I didn't really spend much time at the actual mountains. There's also quite a few examples of our fire warning signs in this one, which went from being low and moderate in the morning, which was honestly around 7 a.m, maybe even earlier to be honest, and then it went up to very high at the peak of the day. So we did not light any fires today because it would have been kind of dangerous. Now on the way, there's this really pretty little town called Beaufort, and we stopped here just for a toilet break, but it was honestly really a pretty place. And since this trip took place a few days after Christmas, they still had their Christmas stuff up, which was also really cute. So this was a really fun stop, even though it wasn't that long. And here we have one of these ominous vicar signs. After tucking in on some food, we finally decided to make our way up onto our actual trail. Now, I have done quite a lot of hiking before, but I've never hiked in a place like the Grampians. Usually the places I hike have a more stable trail to follow, and it's never as long as the route that we took this time. This route that we took was a 3.5 kilometer one-way upwards and then 3.5 kilometers downwards to the way that we came from, or there was other paths that trailed from that, which I'll get into later. Now, when we first heard just 3.5 kilometers, I honestly wasn't that scared. I was like, oh yeah, 3.5 kilometers, like that's not too bad. It is quite a long journey, but also that's what we're here to do. We're here to hike, so it's not really big of a problem. But once we started on this trek, now I don't know if all of the treks are like this because I ended up using 2 of the treks for this summit point, which is the Pinnacle, and this was awful. There were so many steps and the steps were huge, and it was really rocky and uneven the whole way, and it was also kind of unsafe in the sense that there was always a deep valley right to one side, which one could fall down easily if they like slipped or tripped or sprained their ankle or something. So that's a little bit dangerous, which is different compared to the other way that we came. So it was really interesting going up this way, but it took a lot out of us. I think it took us like 2 hours and 15 minutes to go up, but personally, I probably could have done it a little bit faster, but because we had such a large group and some of them who were a little less used to walking and also needed to catch their breath more often, we took a lot of breaks, and the breaks ended up being like 10 minutes long every time. So at one point it was almost like 5-minute walking and then 10-minute break, but we eventually did get up there. One thing which is a point of reflection for me, which I didn't realize, well, I do know that I'm quite a speedy walker. I tend to do that quite often, and sometimes it makes my friends and family have to almost run to catch up with me, which, I'm sorry guys, but I don't really like walking slowly. But looking back on this footage, now I haven't sped up any of this footage, but in some parts I'm like, wow, I am making a lot of ground here for only being a 15-second clip. So at least even within hiking, I was going pretty fast, even though in that moment I felt that I was going slower than usual, because obviously I was trying to mind my every step so that I did not trip and, fall down the side. Now, nearing the top, the terrain became really rocky, and it was a little bit difficult to follow this path at this bit because the only thing guiding you towards where you had to go, the only thing telling you how to get to the top were these little yellow arrows, and they weren't always in the places that you needed them. And also sometimes it was, you kind of had to look for them. It wasn't like straight up on your path, like, oh yeah, I know how to go this way. And finally, this was the view from the top. Now, at this really top bit, which was where you see the entire view with the access of a hand railing and everything, it was really, really windy. And so I'm sorry for the slightly shaky footage, and also the fact that it's not panning out that much because I was holding my phone so tightly because I was so scared it was just going to fly away. Also, I had to hold on to myself and my hat so I didn't fly away, and also I like my hat very much, so I tried to keep that with me too. Now, the top was nice. It felt nice to just sit there and relax, and it was quite rewarding, but not as rewarding as I would have liked it to be. So a lot of our party was still like, oh, okay, so this is what we're here for. Nice. I feel like maybe if the journey up was a little less difficult, maybe if it had a little less steps than it did, it would have been much more rewarding. We're like, oh yeah, I hiked this, I earned up to this, and you can have lunch now. But it's just that the route that we took was just a little bit too difficult for the top view to be worth it. Now, to come down, we chose to take a different path, which was shorter. This was only 2.2 kilometers, and we chose to do this one because we had a lot of kids with us and also the kids' parents. So the mums were finding it really difficult on the initial trek up, so they decided to come with the kids, and I chose to go on this route too. And we went down this other new path while the dads went and got the cars from the other car park, so they did have to go back the way that they came. But this way was so much smoother and nicer, with the exception that it had a lot of rocks, which meant one, it was kind of confusing where you had to go, and two, it was kind of slippery, and especially since none of us had like proper hiking shoes, it was a little bit dangerous, but we just took it slow and steady, and we made pretty good speed on this one. The real problem on this entire trek up and down both was that we didn't have enough water. Well, I feel like we had enough water. I was carrying like 5 bottles of water on me alone. The problem was that we were drinking too much water, so I would say barely like a kilometer in, we had almost finished half of our water supply, and that was mostly due to the kids getting extremely out of breath and then just downing half a bottle of water at once. So we really had to ration out our water since that point, and it was kind of upsetting. Like every time you would grab the water bottle and you would drink one sip and then you would put it back because you really only need to wet your mouth. But we finally made it down on the second trek, and we were free and able to sit in a car after such a long and exhausting ride. Now next we went to Mackenzie Falls, which is a waterfall in the Grampians National Park, and there was a lot of emergency vehicles there. There was like 3 state emergency services vehicles, 2 ambulances, a police car. I think there might have been 4 state emergency service vehicles. But anyways, we did take note of the fact that there were so many emergency workers here, but we just carried on down to the waterfall. which was honestly fine, even after the very tiring day, and now our feet were like aching. But since it was a hike downwards, it was honestly fine, but we really did feel the problems with that when we were coming back up. The waterfall was really peaceful though, and we just sat there on the rocks by the waterfall, hearing the water and just trying to soothe away our tiredness, and we just ate some crackers and relaxed, and it was honestly such a time of healing. The walk back up to the car park though was a nightmare. It was really steep, and there was a lot of steps with this too, and the steps were really big, and so we were just like holding on to each other, holding on to our sticks, and just being like, we can do it. It's only like 700 meters from here, but 700 meters of almost pure stair hell. And on the way, we passed this pretty little town, Ararat, and I love it from what I've seen of it because it's just so cute and peaceful. After departing from Ararat, we saw this absolutely magical sunset where we could actually see the sun setting. Now, I just think I've never been in the right place and right time to see the sun set because, as you can probably see in this video, the sun sets in about like 30 seconds from the point of when I first saw the actual sun, and it just looked so pretty that I had to capture it. For a very late 10 p.m. dinner, we stopped by at Domino's in Ballarat, and honestly, it's really a coincidence that the last time that I came to Ballarat was exactly 2 years ago on this exact same day when we were traveling for our Christmas trip, in 2019 before the pandemic struck. But there was a Coles there, so me and my cousin just went inside, and there's just something surreal about convenience stores or like supermarkets at night, which when they're so like empty, but they're also so bright and still colorful as they've been throughout the entire day. So I really enjoy traveling around towns or in individual shops at night, or at least when it's dark out and there's not many people out, because it just gives me a strange sort of feeling, and I really relish that. That is the end of this adventure, and granted that COVID situation stays fine and travel restrictions aren't really imposed that much, and that we can all be safe and healthy, I will be traveling again soon. But for now, goodbye.